Cross Community Council meeting for full council on the 9th of June 2026. Can I just start with any apologies for absence, please?
I'm not apologising, but I'm letting the meeting know that I have to leave at 7:15 tonight.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Apologies from Xanthi Keaton. She's
Yeah.
she's got an event.
Councillor Trevor Carr and Councillor Rebecca Fogarty.
Thanks. And I've also had apologies from Laura and David, and Helen said she's going to be late as well, just for mark on that, okay? Moving on to declarations of interest, myself as the City Councillor, so anything related in the agenda to that is myself. Any other declarations of interest at all? I guess, Sarah, anything related to Swansea Council,
As usual, anything related to Swansea Council.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, moving onwards. Public participation. Obviously, this is the opportunity for people to speak. Anyone watching this back, if you could make representation, if you do want to ask a question at MCC, if you inform the Chief Officer 3 days before the meeting, working days before the meeting, so that it can, and it has to be related to the agenda. But there's the public here. So moving on to item number 4, which is to approve the minutes of the annual meeting held on the 12th of May. So they are in your packs. If anyone's got, close in the little white browser so that I can see Sarah.
This one here?
Yeah, that one. Yeah. I'm so just can't see it.
Sorry.
Okay, so they're in your pack. So if anyone's got any comments on the minutes there? If not, could I ask those in favour of accepting the minutes of the annual meeting on the 12th of May? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that's carried. Thank you. And moving on to approve the minutes held on the 23rd of March, which is also in your agenda packs. Okay, I don't see any hands there. We'll give it a second, but if there's no questions, all those in favour of accepting those minutes? Okay, thank you very much. And thirdly, to approve the minutes held on the meeting of the 19th of May 2026, item number 6 in your packs. Some of these are rolled over because there was a couple of issues with the minutes, but I think they've been addressed. So there's no questions on those either. Give it a minute. No hands. Okay, so all those in favour accepting the minutes of the 19th of May. Thank you very much. We are flying today. So, Chair's report. I haven't written an official report today. It's just a couple of things I wanted to discuss, well, update people on really. We had an extremely busy period over bank holiday weekend, which saw a large amount of tourists and locals all using our fantastic beaches, which was great to see. However, that brought some challenges. One with parking, both Langland, surrounding roads, and also Caswell, particularly where it obviously clogged the roads down Caswell. I have met with officers at the council to try and come up with a solution. It's very hard to get a tow-away area. It was something that we discussed, and also trying to get a tow truck down on a bank holiday would be pretty tricky. So one of the things we are looking at is adding tabbed yellow lines, which is so that disabled parking isn't possible on that particular section. So it should clear up the road at the bottom of Caswell. So that's being looked into, and also the huge amount of litter which was left on the both beaches, particularly Langland, over that bank holiday weekend, and to be honest, every weekend, which is really, really sad to see. We've obviously got great volunteer litter pickers that do litter picking for us in the community. And I think obviously Swansea Council do a bit of education in the schools. It just does seem that it's a bit of a societal change there. But again, I have spoken to Swansea Council. They do a fantastic job, I will say, Swansea Council, once they're on site. The seasonal staff throughout the day into the evenings, great. However, I've just been trying to get them to get on site a bit earlier in the mornings to clear that rubbish after after busy periods. So that is a challenge. The council staff are looking into that operational lead and seeing if that's possible. Second thing, last thing really, just a little update on the steps at the cemetery, bottom of Slade Road there, which is in our budget, which got passed at a previous meeting. They should be, that should be being done in the next couple of weeks, which is great news. That'll really improve access from Newton for people in mobility scooters, wheelchairs and prams. So as Rob said before the meeting, it is a bit of a challenge getting down that hill currently. So that will be great. And the other thing is obviously that the builders are in Oysterford Woodland paths, which is something that a number of us have been sort of badgering everyone about for a long time. So that's great to see. So really good improvements there. That's all from me. So I'll hand over to the Chief Officer for her report, please. Thank you.
Just moving rooms, I think our internet has dropped.
I will we'll maybe just move on to item number 9 then, and we'll come back to the Chief Officer's report. So finance report is just in your packs, which is the items from last month, the payments made by the RFO. So just give everyone, as I like to do, always just a chance to refresh the memory and glance over these. Harry, do you want to come in?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a query really,
Okay.
not to do with a specific payment, but I know we pay Amazon Prime, and I'm not sure how that fits with our sustainable procurement policy, because I would have thought that procuring stuff from Amazon was the complete opposite of sustainable procurement. So I'm just questioning whether that is something we should actually be doing, and whether we should in fact be looking at more sustainable systems that we can use to purchase whatever it is that's needed. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, thanks, Harry. Sorry, we're just
Sorry,
trying to die up on muting the mic and unmuting the mic here, so we're flowing now. Yes, I mean that's a good point, and I think probably something someone could take away to one of the committees or one of the officers. I don't know if Kerry's here, but
No, she isn't, unfortunately.
Di's nodding and saying she's happy to look into that for you. So maybe if we want to take that offline, and if you don't feel it's been done, then we can certainly put it on the agenda for another meeting. But yeah, something I think worth looking into is you.
Yeah, I mean, certainly I'm sure Sarah would be happy for us to look at it through Environmental Committee.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah, great. There we are. So if you do that, and you can get the opportunity to report back then. Okay. Just yeah, there's nothing else from me. Is there any questions from anyone else? If not, can I take the first vote on the payments made by the RFO in May 26 retrospectively approved? All those in favour? Okay, thank you. That's carried. And B is the bank transfers made by the RFO in May 2026 to be retrospectively approved, which are also on the next page of the pack. So all those in favour? Okay, thank you. That's carried. Okay, is Kerry back yet? Or...
I haven't seen her.
No worries. So we'll carry on moving forward, and we'll come back once Kerry's joined us. We'll come back to that Chair's Chief Officer's report. So moving on to item number 10, report from the Chair of the Finance Committee. Is that over to Tim then?
We're going to have our monthly meeting later. Well, it's next week, next Tuesday. So nothing really from us to report back.
Okay, but Tim, thanks. That's no problem. So if we could have a report to the next before the next meeting on that, then, and we'll take from there. Di, if someone speaks, can you mute it? Because
On that side?
On our side, because it echoes their side. We don't hear the echo, but if you're online,
So whenever you speak, mute it.
whenever they speak, mute it. Yeah, cool, thanks. Okay, no problem, Tim. So moving on to the report for the Environmental Committee. I've seen the EO monthly report, which is very comprehensive and fantastic. So if you want to talk us through that, or
Yeah,
anything else?
yes, Chair. We had a really good event yesterday, which was the start of the Green Stickers event for businesses that are sustainable, ironically, starting with procurement, and one of the main things. So we had quite a number of people turn up. It was really positive, and more people have said they were interested but couldn't make it. So we'll see how that goes, but it's a first step. Washing House Brook, we had a really good meeting down Warm Hub about that. Oh, can you do something about the feedback?
But if you press the mic, it should. Is
I
it?
don't have done it.
Try it again.
Okay. It was excellent. People came around and we discussed the green issues with putting the ramp in, and and I think we reassured people, and they're looking forward to having the new path and the ramp in. They have started work there. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to doing some things with Crop Collective, but there'll be more of that in the next meeting. Thank you.
Is there any questions for Sarah at all from anyone before we move on? No? Okay, so that's thanks, Sarah. Thank you all just for noting, obviously. Next one is report from the Chair of Tourism and Communications Committee, Rob.
Yeah, so we've had one meeting so far, and Richard was appointed as the committee's representative to the Facilities and Property Committee. We talked about the Folk Festival, which we're going to have in the first weekend of October this year, and hopefully out of small acorns, oak trees grow, and this will become a well-established, popular annual thing in our calendar of events. The Toy and Toast has started again, thanks to Ange for bringing this to us. So that's now every Thursday morning at Oystermouth Hub. And we had a brief discussion about future events and things we could do as well. And I think I also mentioned the Santampa 80th anniversary event, which is going to take place in the weekend of, I think, the 25th to the 27th of April 2027. And from, Will's on the committee for that with me and Ange. And from what has been said, this is possibly going to be the last one, commemoration one they do, because people won't be around possibly at the 90th anniversary of this. So yes, we talked about how we could support that as well.
That's great. Okay, Rob, thanks. Can I make a few requests for your committee, things for you to discuss? I'm not on it, as you know, but
Yeah.
The 10K and the half marathon and maybe the Ironman, when people come into Mumbles, and just if there's something that you could look at that adds a bit of welcome to Mumbles, a bit of atmosphere. For example, I put it on Facebook, and Ryan Hull has said, that their premises would happily put some music on, and but maybe we could, fund some kind of entertainment, because when I've done the London Marathon a few times, and you go into certain areas, certain towns, I suppose. And there's obviously clearly some coordinated music going on those, and it's really lifts you.
Well, yeah, it's motivational, isn't it?
Maybe a big arch or something, welcome to Mumbles, but that may be a step too far.
Could you put them running?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, local connection as well.
So there's that one. Rich, do you want to come in on that one?
Yeah, on that. Remember, was it 2 years ago we did the buskers outside your stream centre on a Saturday. That went down very well.
Mhm.
There's buskers and there's buskers, isn't there? Very good buskers out there. Something along those lines, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So if you could bring that, and maybe the buskers could make a comeback on the Alstream site, you know, but yeah.
Love that.
If you could look into those things. Also, the raft race, I personally think it should be on our calendar, and we should. I've been on the committee that's sort of tried to give the raft race a little bit of a boost with the RNLI, but I think maybe we could write to them officially and put someone from MCC on that committee, and maybe MCC could make an annual commitment to X. I'm not saying what it should be as for your committee, but maybe we should support the raft race long term, and if so, your committee should work with the RNLI, local RNLI, to deliver that. So maybe if you could
They'll go
on.
on.
And the only other thing, which we're coming up to Christmas, and what I've always thought would be really good. You go to some towns, they've got nets, you know, over the star nets over there, and then in different parts of the year they've got like the umbrellas and things like that, and little things hanging. You'd only have to put 5 or 6 eyelets on the buildings on the bottom of Newton Road here, either side, and you could, you know, suspend a cable all year. Sorry?
It'd be quite magical.
It'd be lovely, wouldn't it? Yeah, you know. So what
Star nets.
I don't know what they're called, but it wouldn't be I wouldn't think it, once it's fitted, I wouldn't think it's a huge amount of money. So just something I was wondering if you and the committee could look into.
I think we actually did look at having lighting going across the streets, but there was a problem with the eyelets because some of them are private property and some aren't.
They all would require someone writing to them, and, you know, getting permission, I'm sure, and stuff. Andrew, you can see your hand up. Do you want to come in? Di, can you meet with Dee?
Yeah, no, absolutely great idea. And I think having a stage and music at all of these events would be wonderful, but just obviously consideration for the cost, and that would be an extra few £1,000s. So maybe the committee needs to ask for more money when it comes round to the next budget, so we could have some extra money to play with, so to speak. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think we need a stage as such, but yeah, these things all cost money, so understand that would obviously, everything costs money. Okay, super. Moving on then, if there's no questions for Rob. Oh, Helen, sorry, see your hand.
Yeah, not so much a question for Rob as for you, Will and Kerry, because I think the more staff we've got, you know, we've all got ideas, and we're doing a lot of events through the year, not just the events that are a core part of our work programme, but then individual councillors do events like the Easter egg hunt, etc. So I've said this before, but us having a plan, at least an event plan at the very least, where I think we need to map out what events are happening where and who's, you know, because I think otherwise it's just a constantly growing piece of work for a limited staff resource. So I'm suggesting we map out the events, when they're happening, who's leading, just to help manage the workload. Thanks, Will.
Hey, thanks, Helen. Just wants to make a comment on that, and then I will, and then we'll move forward.
The culture meeting we had, I think Kerry said, dust in the pipeline, so that we all know what everyone's doing. And in the past, we know our staff have been overloaded, and something we want to avoid.
Yeah. Okay, so that's something I suppose that we could bring up at a personnel meeting maybe, and Kerry could bring up and maybe put on the agenda for that. So I suppose if Ian's watching this back, maybe we could just make a comment for Kerry to pick that up from the minute notes. And just one more time then,
Yeah, sorry. I know Helen feels quite strongly about the event plan, and I think it might be cohesive for everybody going forward. I think that would be a nice idea for the new marketing officer to actually have, you know, for everybody to know, and then it can be publicised what's happening, what month and where, and maybe I think that would be a really good idea. Is now a good time to talk about the family fun days for just a second, or not?
I mean, it's not on the agenda.
It's only because under the sort of events heading really that I understand the Family Fun Day for Newton is happening at Underhill Park. And whilst I understand that's under the Newton ward, and I have no problem with it happening there in the winter, personally for me, just because of the weather then, but in the summer, I really feel like we should use what is often an underused park and is still a very newish playground. And it would mean that people ultimately are bringing less cars, I think Highmead Park should be used, and I feel quite strongly for that. So I don't know whether there's any leeway with moving that, because I saw the email that went out earlier on for Underhill. So I just wanted to mention that because I feel quite strongly for it. But thank you very much for letting me speak now.
I'm sure we can have a sorry, the mouse is terrible, isn't it? It doesn't respond to, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure we can have a short debate on that. I don't want this to turn into a 10-minute thing, so we can all be quite quick in our deliveries. Kerry, do you want to come in?
You do, and I would just like to make the point that this hasn't been agendaed for agreement with any of the councillors before. We've circulated an email and we've asked councillors to engage with us on what they actually want to have, and the email that come back in regards to Newton Ward was that they were happy for the same format as last year but didn't actually state a venue. So we've had to look at the numbers that we're attending year on year, and it's growing in popularity. There isn't clear toilet facilities at Highmead Park, so a decision was made to move it to Newton, move it to Underhill, which is still within the Newton ward. However, what I would suggest is if councillors do feel ever so strongly about this being held in Highmead, that it is put to the vote this evening and it's voted on by full council now, so we know where we're going.
Sarah, do you want to come in?
Yeah, my concern is the toilets. I like Highmead, but the last one we did, it was packed and there was a number of people with small children and an elderly lady who wanted to know where the toilets were. And it's not very nice if you have to direct them to the hedge. I suppose if you were willing to take some extra money from the party fund and put up a toilet there or something, it's an expense, but I suppose if you really want to use Highmead, I mean, that's a problem with Fairwood, and we wouldn't use Fairwood now because of that, because they're getting bigger and because you have to think about these things. Underhill worked okay because at least we had toilets there. Thanks, that's all I got to say.
Thanks, Sarah. Rob, do you want to? Well, okay. Karen.
Yeah. You know, numbers are now well over 100, around 150, and that's just the children. You add in the parents as well, and realistically, we need bigger areas than we've been able to use before. And Underhill has a lot of advantages. It's still in the Newton ward. It belongs to us. We can, you know, there's lots of access to facilities there that would be available to us. And it's dead easy to get to. It's on a bus route, on probably 2 bus routes, you know, or an easy walk up from the front. And just sheer numbers, we have to be realistic and look at safety and making sure when we've got large numbers that we have sufficient space to accommodate them all. What we don't want to be doing is having to limit people and turning people away because there isn't any room.
Thanks, Kerry. Just coming on to Rob.
Yeah, I'll address a couple of points. First of all, Highmead is big enough. It's, as Angela said, an underused asset in the ward of Newton. There are no toilets there. There are no toilets in Clyne. There are no toilets in Fairwood Park. There are no toilets in Castleacre. But
yes, there are.
Excuse me, I'm speaking. Excuse me, I'm speaking. You've had your chance. As I say, you know, Underhill is ours. It costs us nothing to cancel if we want to cancel the event there. Not every event we do has to be in Underhill to promote our hub. There are other places as well. We've already discussed the fact that it's very hard for people with prams to get there. It's also hard for old people who have to park and walk.
So you're on mute.
Yeah. Right, I think Di's going to buy a new mouse tomorrow, so but bear with us.
What I was saying is, you know, Underhill is not a very accessible place for people with prams. coming down either the cemetery or the steep hill of Newton, where half the time the pavement is just about wide enough for a pram, let alone anybody passing. It's also not very user-friendly for elderly people to walk from the car park. Some of them have mobility problems. You know, I would have, Kerry said that if, you know, we didn't say that the format about where we wanted it, well, I would have thought if it was going to be changed, then that would have come back to the Newton councillors for approval, that we were happy to have it at Underhill. I think, really speaking, this event is a Newton Ward event and therefore should be decided by the Newton Ward councillors.
Okay, thanks, Rob. Ian, do you want to come in and then Pam?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. One of the things that was particularly noticeable last year was the length of the grass. It was absolutely ridiculous. Why the council hadn't endeavoured to cut it, I'll never know. It was appalling. So we must ensure, if we're going to continue using Underhill, that it's fit for purpose. So get the grass cut. As far as the points that have been made by Rob, I have to say he's quite correct on most of them. Yeah, not a problem. I would advocate we continue with Highmead, and we can monitor it and move on.
Okay, like I said, I know Klein has got a toilet, so if any of the hands are up, I'm gonna say Klein's got a toilet, if you could take them down, but if someone has another pressing issue, then I'm sure we can, if you are very swift with it. Pam?
Messages went out from the clerk and the staff asking for information from councillors. His councillors failed to get back to the clerk and the others with in time and with adequate information for them, then there's no point in blaming the clerk now. She's doing her job, and I don't think it's very good to start blaming her and trying to turn things around. As all councillors had opportunity to work with the clerk on this, if you fail to do that, then we stick by the clerk.
For the record, nobody is blaming the clerk, Pam. It was just a bit of a surprise to see that it wasn't in the usual place.
I'm sorry, I didn't say blaming. I said working with it. Nobody said anything about blaming anybody.
It's not.
But anyway,
okay, stick to the point, please.
The point is that if we're keeping to the same format, that means the same place. If the place is changing, then we're alerted to that change before.
Yeah. Okay. So I can see 3 more hands up. I think this is going around in circles, but if you could be quick, Ange, your hand is number 1. So do you want to come in?
Thank you. A couple of things. One, just to make a note at Klein Gardens, I know they have got toilets, but 1 or 2 of those were actually out of use on the Easter egg hunt. I know because I went in there with a child who needed to go, and then I won't carry on with that story. Second thing is I'm willing to price up the toilets for Highmead. Obviously, I know the numbers are increasing. And for clarity, I did reply, like a number of other Newton councillors, just so everyone's aware, saying that we were very happy with everything that's been done, always for the family fun days, and to stick with it. And by that, I meant I didn't realise how to spell it out, saying that it being at Highmead. And again, so it wasn't that we didn't or failed to respond to get back to the clerk. Thank you.
Thanks, Ange. Helen?
I do think this is an important point of principle. I know we're spending a long time with this. Those summer of fun events have always had a strong councillor input, and I think that's really important because we are the ones that know our ward in terms of the content of what's provided and where works best. I just don't think it's any of my business to tell Newton councillors where to have that event. I think we should have it where they feel is best, and I think it's as simple as that. It's only a 2-hour event. You tell your kids, go to the toilet before you leave, and if you're an adult, you do the same, and then then you're right. So I just feel let's just go with Highmead.
Okay, Carrie, if you could wrap up.
Very, very quickly, just to say, I'm slightly surprised that there's a comment about how difficult Underhill Hub is to get to with a pram. In that case, why are we running tots and toys there every week if nobody can get there? And as for old people getting there, as far as I'm aware, the Family Fun Day is for children. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
Then parents go, I meant older people than you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so I think what seems to have happened here from my opinion is that the Newton councillors assumed that it was repeating in the same place. That's why they've responded in the manner they have. Personally, I think I'm one of the Newton councillors. I do think it's nice to move things around, but I think obviously it depends on the budget for the toilet. So what we'll say is if there isn't the money for the toilet, that all 4 Newton councillors are here now. So we could say if there's not the money for the toilet in the existing budget, that we would provide a toilet, at least one within our potential budgets. Would everyone be happy with that, Ian?
I'd be happy with that.
Yeah,
You know, it's not important, but it's only
I do think
2 hours.
I do think you need a toilet. To be fair, in fairness to
There's no toilets at the skate park.
no, but you've got
Go in the bushes.
One with a bush we all went as kids.
All right, guys. Look, that's a compromise. That's the compromise. I think. Otherwise, I personally don't want to put an event on without a toilet for like 200 kids personally. So that's the compromise. If you're happy to support that course of action, then I'm happy to support it as well. Angela, do you want to just come in very quickly?
Yeah,
on
sorry,
that?
I missed the beginning of what you were saying. I'm sorry. I think also with the toilets, I've always been told by people at MCC that originally that people will have exactly what Helen said. Generally, you would have gone to the toilet before going, and then it's only an hour or two that you're there, and then you generally would be okay. And if that's not the case, I'm very happy to look into hiring a toilet there at the venue if need be.
Yeah, that's basically what we said, Ange. Yeah. Okay, so if everyone's okay with that, Kerry, I can see your hand. If we Newton councillors are happy, if we exceed the budget, that we pick up the tab for the toilet on our community budgets. Is that okay with you?
Chair, can we go for 2 toilets, please, and not 1? If you've got just 1, it's going to get pretty horrible.
Okay, let's just see if that's possible first. Kerry,
I have a question. First of all, it's not our land, the High Mead. It's operated by Swansea City Council, so we'll need their permission to site a toilet there. And if they give permission for us to site a toilet there, what is the maximum budget as councillors you're agreeing to put to, so I know what I'm working towards?
okay, good point.
It's not going to cost that.
No, but we're putting a number aside for 2 toilets. Okay.
Just thinking, what Mumfest charge for toilets. I mean, Kerry will have that.
Delivery is the expect. No, what we're doing here, we're not going to get into a debate about how much. We just need to set an amount. It doesn't mean it have to spend that amount. Up to. So it's up to. So as long as us 4 are happy to spend up to 2 toilets
Between us. Yeah, that's fine.
Then that's okay. Ian, okay?
Yes,
Rob's okay. Angela, if you could just confirm if you're okay with that.
Yep.
Could I confirm to Ian, part of the planning application for the skate park was that toilets are a 3-minute walk away. That's where the toilets are for the skate park. Just to give that information.
Yeah. All right. Let's not go down too many rabbit holes now. Yeah. Okay, Kerry. So as long as you're all right with that, I don't think we need to take a vote on that because it's. I
didn't hear what budget amount I'm working towards. Sorry.
Yeah, it's £500 it was up to. Obviously, we're hoping not to spend that, but up to 500.
500, okay. And given that Swansea will give us permission to site toilets there, yeah?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. All right. So I'm gonna we finished with the event section. So you weren't in the room at the time, Kerry. So if we go back to your Chief Officer's report, item number 8. Do you want to take that on?
Yeah, I haven't got anything to update.
Okay, so we are on item number 14, committee recommendations. Bear with me while I just turn some pages. Right, so environmental committee, recommended Dennis Dower and Colbert Admain Thomas to be co-opted onto the Environmental Committee, and for Chris Evans and Eddie Hall to continue onto the committee. Okay, so I don't see any hands for any questions, so all those in favour of that? Okay, thank you. Culture and tourism, recommendation to hold a folk festival in Mumbles in 2026. Do you just want to give a brief, did we assign a budget to this at our last meeting?
We did at the annual, the one after the annual general, wasn't it?
Yeah, okay, so this has budget
Yeah.
already set. Okay, so that's great. Okay, so all those in favour of the folk festival in 2026? Thank you, that's carried. Recommendation to hold the folk festival during the first weekend of October, Friday the 2nd of October and Sunday the 4th. That's obviously, from Friday to Sunday. That makes much more sense. Yeah, okay, so Friday the 2nd of October to Sunday the 4th of October. All those in favour? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, that concludes the recommendations. And just moving on to Langland Lifeguards, which has disappeared. Where has it gone? Where has it gone? I did have it.
Lifeboat. Here we are, I got it. Yes.
Right. Okay, so Langland, thanks, Di. Langland Lifeguards have put in the application for a welfare gazebo. So those that aren't familiar, Langland Lifeguards operates as a charity. They do some fantastic work with young people in the area and also seniors as well, with water safety, fitness, training, real asset to the area. Building future lifeguards, I suppose, and also improving the safety, life-saving capabilities of many people who live in the area. They don't, in fact, I can't recall any time they've come to us before and asked for help. So, you know, that's obviously to be noted, I think. They're asking for £958 towards welfare shelter. So so apparently this is for children to change in. So you'd have a section where the kids can change in, obviously, so they're not getting changed at competitions out in the open, and also act as a sort of like shelter from the rain during competitions and events. They have to travel around to various places. So pretty straightforward. So £958. So any questions on that, or Ian?
They don't seem to be contributing anything themselves towards it.
They don't, not in this, no. They obviously they do put a lot of volunteer time in, and they have raised a lot of money for other projects that they've run and raised for. So they do a lot of fundraising, and they have raised a lot of money for it and other things, but this one particularly, no, is 100% funded for the gazebo.
I'm just pointing it out.
Yeah, no, I understand, yeah. Any other questions anywhere before I move to vote? Martin?
Yeah, sorry to come in. Just going on Ian's point there. We have sort of discussed this in the past, and maybe the danger of a precedent. But I think maybe in this application, if they make the point that the contribution is in the form of volunteer time, I think that would, you know, cut off any sort of criticism that might come from elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, there is a huge amount of volunteer time,
I'm not disputing that. It's
Yeah.
just that, you know, because we have talked about this in the past,
Yeah,
that sometimes the contribution can be in kind.
yeah.
But I don't think it's in, I got to admit, I haven't read that application in depth, but like, I don't think it's in there. But if we could just make that point, just so that, you know, we don't have people coming back and saying, well, hold on, why did you fund them 100%?
Yeah.
Just to make that sort of point that the contribution is volunteer time. And, you know, with it being volunteer week this week as well, you know.
Yeah, no, that's right. Okay, yeah, I mean, they I know my kids don't go to this. I wish they had, because their water safety would be a lot better. Yeah, I see the coaches down there, they give up a lot of their time, evenings, weekends, huge amounts of time at the competitions as well. They're there all day, you know.
Yeah. All right.
So it's very impressive. Okay, I don't see any more hands, so I'm just going to move that to the vote. So all those in favour? Okay, I think that, yeah, that's carried. Thank you very much. Okay, so
Helen's back in the room.
yeah. So moving on to Langland Lifeboat Association. So that this is a grant application for the raft race. So this is basically am I right? 40th year anniversary. Yeah, 40th anniversary of Mumbles Raft Race.
Wow.
I mean, it's an iconic thing, Mumbles Raft Race, and as I mentioned earlier in the event section, I think it is something that long term, I'm not just talking like 1-2 years, I think Mumbles Community Council really should be supporting and making this event bigger and better. We're always looking at what events can we do, what can we do, and sometimes the obvious is staring you right in the face, and this is it. Everyone in South Wales knows Mumbles Raft Race, and it's definitely gone down in scale over the last 30 years. I mean, the rafts used to be absolutely massive, and they'd have people fancy dress and all huge rafts, and the course would be 3 times as long, and have other things. So spoken to the team, and they're very keen to sort of share that aspiration and get on to bringing it back, and also maybe putting on some paddleboard racing, kayak racing, kids swimming, sea swimming races, all incorporated in the same day and even weekend. And as I mentioned in the previous meeting, maybe joining the regatta up with this to make a sort of festival of the sea. So I think long term there's definitely something more the council can do with this. However, we are looking at just this at the moment, and this is for £5,000 to basically I mean, I'm sure you've all read the grant application, but basically to make the raft race that lot better than it otherwise would be. It's completely for charity, obviously, and the money stays with the local RNLI rather than the national one. So the money raised, I mean. So yes, that it's a marquee music event. Yep, so that it's 50%. I believe the total cost of the project is 10,000. They're asking for 5. So to Martin's point, that's 50%.
Yeah.
See my maths, mate. So yeah, any questions or Pam? I can see a hand.
Are you sure? I would be delighted if it were true. Are you sure the money stays locally? Because we've had huge rows with them before, because any money that raised had to go into a national fund, and we fought very hard some years ago to get it stayed locally. Are you sure it stays locally? Have you had that reassurance?
I'm not going to say that I'm 100% sure actually, but I am sure, but I'm not going to say it just to they don't want some
to jinx it.
Yeah, well, some ombudsman issue, to be quite honest. So I won't say it's 100%. I'll say that is my.
I wonder if you'd mind checking on that, because we've had huge rows with the New York National Centre before, because they took all the money that we raised. Just an issue, just to talk about it.
Yeah. Okay. So let me retract my comment, and what we'll say, we'll get a clarification on that and circulate it following the grant application. But I am well, I'm going to stop talking now. But yeah, I think we'll get clarity on that.
Okay.
For you, Ian.
We've given grants to national organisations in the past. See if this is any different. It's still very much a parochial thing, the Mumbles Lifeboat. So the more support we give it, the better.
The organisation name is Mumbles Lifeboat Crew Association as well, just to clarity. And I know it's a separate bank account and everything. So yeah.
It's not the RNLA.
No, exactly. That's what Pam's point is. Obviously, we will get clarity on that, Pam. But yeah, okay. So it's 50%, and we'll seek that clarity and circulate that after the meeting. But all those in favour of supporting that application? Thank you. That's carried. Okay. So Kerry, can I pass over to you for item 17 and 18, which is sort of merged into one agenda point, which is love music, hate racism, power at the skate park.
Yeah, so 17 is Love Music, Hate Racism at the skate park, which is just a request from Swansea City Councillor, Councillor Chris Evans, to use the skate park to host an event that raises awareness around racism. And item 18 is not required because there was a miscommunication when the agenda was being published.
Kerry, before we go any further, obviously, like talking about the toilets, like we just did for High Mead, if you are, or people, anyone is putting an event on which is not us at the skate park, which there seems to be, I think they should, you know, we should insist that they provide public toilets if it is an event as part of our request. That would seem keeping in theme. I don't know what people think about that. Over to you, Carrie.
As Pam's already said, it's a less than 5-minute walk. You know, it's not like, you know, somewhere like even Fairwood Park, so if we use that, where you're probably talking about 15 or 20 minutes to get to the nearest toilet. You're talking about less than 5 minutes to Blackpill. So I really don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, I suppose it is a lot closer, isn't it? It's a good point, yeah. Kerry.
Yeah, just going to say, if obviously if you grant permission for the skate park to be used, as part of the information we would require from the person putting the event on is an event plan, an event management plan, steward plan, risk assessment, whether they've got the licenses in place. So we would fully require everything that we have to do when we do events. That's what we would expect to see from them, for them to obviously tell us what they're doing there and to make sure that it's all done in the correct manner.
Okay, Ian, do you want to come in?
Yes. I'm not in favour of this. You know, it seems to be that they're getting involved with the incident that happened at the skate park, and I don't think it's an event that should be celebrated with live music, to be perfectly honest. There's a proper route to recognise what went on down there. The skate park was never envisaged that it was going to be a venue for live music. It will require a public entertainment licence. We will need to know what type of music, what the numbers are going to be. Maybe that the toilets will have to be provided. As has already been commented, if the limited information that we've had, there's no power there. What's going to be the timing of the event? Is it going to be in the daytime? Is it going to be in the evening? To my mind, it smacks to me that we're rewarding some people that have acted inappropriately at the skate park. I don't think this is a good thing for us to be going down.
Okay, thank you, Ian. Over to Sarah and then Martin.
Hi, Chair. Well, Exist managed to put on really great events there, with or without us being okay, and there's been no problems there. I think it would look really churlish if we say to a councillor and the skate park is on his actual land, you can't do it. Especially for that cause, I think it would look really bad for MCC to go no to that. And I don't see any real reason to either. I think it's a really positive event. Thanks.
Thanks, Sarah. Martin, yeah.
I think I'd just like to echo Sarah. I really can't see that this is celebrating what happened there. It's got to be said, I've attended a couple of meetings in Swansea recently. This is being talked about all over Swansea. It's all over social media as well. It's definitely not celebrating. It is addressing. And I would very much echo what Sarah says there as well, is if Mumbles Community Council is seen not to be supporting raising awareness of this issue, I think this will reflect very badly on Mumbles Community Council in the wider arena of Swansea, because people will sort of say, well, Swansea Community Council had the chance to support this and they decided not to.
Thanks, Martin. Carrie?
Just to absolutely echo what Sarah and Martin have said, this is something to celebrate, you know, inclusion. It's actually celebrating completely the opposite of the racist incident that happened near the skate park. So, you know, we should be absolutely embracing this. We should be, you know, welcoming it. I think to say it's shouldn't be allowed is just ridiculous.
Thanks for that. My only reservation is the limited information we have on it, really. I mean, I'm like, for example, let's say 20,000 people turned up, you know, and then we haven't got toilets. So that's my only concern is there's very, very limited information here.
Security?
Well, exactly. That's the.
Who's going to run it?
Okay, thanks. Yeah. I think that there is a lot of questions. I don't see any problem with the event taking place, obviously, but there's a lot of questions around what the event is, and therefore, is there a time limit on this, Kerry, at all? There is. Can you fill us in on that?
They want to do it this year ASAP, as long as it doesn't clash with any of the events that are obviously in Swansea's calendar or in MCC's calendar.
Is that the council has already sort of penciled in a date in relation to the points that both you and Ian were making, and I think this is covered by the point that Kerry made earlier on. It is for him and for the City Council to be doing the risk assessment of the planning, and that will be, you know, whichever way we should cooperate and coordinate with the group, but ultimately they are the ones who are putting on the event. They are asking for our permission to use our venue. And as I sort of said, I personally think that if we turn around and say, no, you can't use our venue, that's going to look very churlish.
So can I just confirm before I move on to other people, Kerry, can I confirm that this sits underneath Swansea Council's events? So they will look over the risk assessment and issue the license and everything, or is that down to us?
I believe it's Swansea Council, and Chris Evans has approached us from Swansea Council to do it. And then obviously it would be their special events team, I believe, that would be responsible for doing everything, that are highly capable of organising that down there.
Yeah, they of course, yeah. That's my concern. I thought because we leased the land that onus would be on us, right? So as long as, in my opinion, as long as that is on them, then maybe when we come to the vote, I'll clarify that. But Rob, do you want to come in?
Yeah, two questions. One, sorry, I missed the beginning of that. Are they asking for money or just the venue?
They're just asking for permission.
Okay, well, personally, I think it would be, I agree with Martin, you know, if we refuse to hold this, then it looks really bad on us. And I think music is probably the least racist occupation when you look at orchestras and the multicultural membership of orchestras, not just in this country, but with Brits playing in foreign orchestras as well. I think that's good. My only thing is, I don't think it's the right venue for the reasons that Ian has given.
I mean, the alleged incident didn't actually take place at the skate park either, so I think they're just using the venue as a. I don't think it's related to.
Well, to go playing gardens then.
Okay, and I think we should refer to it. Yeah. Anyway, Sarah.
As I said before, they've have managed to put on really good events there, and we haven't even been bothered with them. And Swansea Council will be the ones doing the risk assessments. I think, to be honest, we should be down there with our little, not marquee, but, you know, our little tent, sitting there, pushing the fact that this is that skate park's there because of us, and it's one of the most popular things we've ever done in the history of MCC. So I think we really should be we should be there waving our flags for that, and not be afraid of it. You know, could be a really positive event, and I think MCC should very much have a presence there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sarah. Over to Helen. You come in.
Can I propose that we agree the request, and if we want more information about numbers, about seeing a risk assessment, we ask for that information. We have to be kept in the loop, and we have to be involved, and that's what I'm proposing we agree on tonight.
Yeah. I mean, that's certainly part of the way forward. I'm sure we'll get to. Thanks, Helen. Angela.
Yeah, hi, Will. I was just wondering if there was any charge from MCC to Swansea Council, obviously bearing in mind Swansea Council do charge us to put on, say, Mumbles Fest at Oystermouth Castle. So I was just wondering whether there was any cost to Swansea Council from MCC for this.
It's a good point, Ange, but I'm guessing the answer is no. And I don't think I'd want to suggest a rent, but you do make a good point. Ian, and then Rich.
Well, it's interesting to hear that councillors are suggesting that they get down there and fly the flag. It's a pity they weren't down there when we were doing Flip the Streets. I was the only councillor there for the launching. Let me finish, Downs and Jones. I was the only one there for the launching of the event. And it was an opportunity to welcome Professor Leila Nouri to the event. She was the one that had been behind it. The other thing, of course, was that the audience that they were sort of setting it to were extremely young. And these were of an age, weren't the ones that have been going around the skate park tagging and doing the graffiti, which I think was disappointing, to say the least. However, there were more members of staff there. There was a gazebo there than councillors. I spoke with a number of city representatives who had taken the time and trouble to turn up. It's a pity that Mumbles community councillors didn't turn up.
Okay, thank you, Ian. Rich, and then Angela.
With what Angela said about the fees, very good point. Perhaps we could just say, because we're not going to charge them, just say, well, we won't charge you anything for this as a gesture of goodwill, but we look forward to you reciprocating.
Yeah.
Also, Swansea City Council are going to run it. It's not going to cost us a penny. Perhaps we start to go on servers now.
Yes, I agree. The hands keep going up. But yes, Rich, it's a good point. When we write to them, and if Ian watches this back, if he could ask that question, I think that's a good point you both make. Carrie.
Just to point out, I was in fact there. Sorry if I didn't see Ian. He wasn't there when I was there, so maybe he didn't stay very long. But I was certainly there.
Carrie, thank you, Ian. Great. So glad you were both there, and thanks for representing the council. Angela.
Yeah, hi. No, I was just thinking it might be quite a good opportunity to negotiate with Swansea Council, read something, because I remember they wanted to advertise before at the skate park, and we were willing to give that to nothing if they were able to give us some advertising for Mumbles Fest for nothing, but that wasn't able to be done at the time. So it might be quite good to see if we could do some negotiating there with that. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say on that. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. You've noted that down to me. Sarah, I see your hand's gone up. I was hoping to move forward.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know. I'll keep it short. I don't think that would look really good optics. Do you think? Because they're putting this on as a sort of heal the community thing, and we're going, yeah, well, you're going to have to pay us or do something for us. That's, again, not good optics, is it really?
Yeah. what Richard's suggesting was that we just put, we look forward to it to being reciprocated in the future. I don't think personally there's any problem with putting that in. They can choose to ignore it, or they can play ball. That's up to them. But I agree with what you're saying largely. Okay, so I'm just going to add a very small amendment that that Swansea Council are going to cover all the risk assessments and the licenses and the security, all the event really, into the event itself. But with that in mind, all those in favour of allowing the event to take place at the skate park? Okay, any abstentions?
Oh, no.
Any against?
Objector.
Any against?
Against, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's passed. Moving forward, we got item 19, which is the land outside the George. Now, there's been a little bit of a couple of questions on Facebook around this. So the land which is currently was used to park cars. It was unrestricted parking outside the George. Swansea Council did do a consultation, which I was part of, making sure that happened. We did what's that noise?
Somebody dancing.
What is it?
I'll shut the door.
Hey guys, one sec.
Dance. All right.
There's a door, sorry.
Oh, good.
That's in the,
Oh, is it? Ash has decided to do the cutting of the the hedges outside. Great timing. Okay. So where were we? Oh yeah. So there was unrestricted parking outside the George, which has been tarmacked for God knows how long. However, some people have mentioned that they don't think that it should be paid or permitted parking because that some people think that there might be some ancient rights over the land because it was gifted to Mumble's fishermen, maybe, I think. So anyway, I said to a local activist, shall we call them, that I would put this on the event, on the agenda, and that we would just write to Swansea, because I'm struggling to get any answer on it, if I'm honest. I have sent an email, but if MCC sends an email to the legal department of Swansea, just to clarify what the status of the land and if there's any historic claims on the land, if we could just seek some clarity on that. So is there any questions before we move to a vote on that one? Okay,
Yeah, has
so
anybody done a land registry search on it? Cost £7.
well, I think maybe we could do that before we send the letter, or maybe we could do both.
It's for loss of blood.
So yeah, could you shut that window in, because the streamers.
I don't mind at all.
Thank you. The streamers come around here now. Okay, so all those in favour of doing a £7 land registry search and writing to Swansea Council to seek clarity on that land opposite the George. Thank you. It's covered. Number 20, One Voice Wales. Kerry, did you want to pick this one up? Launch One Voice Wales. Respect.
Yeah, ironically. It's basically, but if you remember when I came into council, you signed a pledge for civility and respect in council meetings, and that was launched by the SLCC. One Voice Wales are finally caught up now and have released the Welsh version, so it's just asking council to basically pledge to this like they did to the SLCC one.
It's for information, or does it require a
You
vote?
agree to pledge to it to say you're going to sign up to the pledge.
What will we sign up to the pledge?
Yeah, okay. Okay, so is this when, so this is a vote that every councillor, I don't really understand, because surely each councillor would sign up to the pledge. So is this a council decision that the council would?
Council signs up to the pledge, so therefore you need to take a vote, so the body of the council has passed the resolution on it.
Correct? And then, sorry, and then individuals, councillors sign the pledge individually, or the council?
No,
sign?
just the whole council signs it, so it'll be signed by MCC.
Okay, thanks for clarity on that. So if there's no questions, all those in favour? Thank you. So number 21, which is the IT quote, can you give us some background on that, please?
Yeah, I'm not too sure why it's IT quote. It's a it's the license, isn't it, for the Story of Mumbles. The NLA. Let me just check the file. Bear with me 1 second.
Thanks. Just to clarify, this is for the newspaper article.
Yes. So this is it's not a IT quote. It's basically Story of Mumbles are displaying newspaper articles on their website, and apparently there's a special license that needs to that is required to be purchased for this. They have quoted 5,817, I think it is in the paperwork. However, that price has since increased because they've increased their prices from April, and this is the only agency you can get this type of quote for this type of license from. So council need to decide whether they want to accept this so Story of Mumbles can continue to display the historical newspaper articles on there, and obviously if it's going to come from contingency, and then obviously let me know if you want me to instruct them to go ahead. But if not, then it means that the newspaper articles would need to be removed from the website because you can get fined.
6 years access, is that right? Because 6 years down. So full 6 years.
There's part of it that you have to renew every year. So if you bear with me 1 second.
Yeah, it's just how the only way newspapers can make money, probably.
Not through papers, is it?
Ongoing license fee 3,700.
Yeah, so that's the ongoing commitment every year.
I mean, I think can we? Well, I don't know how other people think, so I'll give anyone an opportunity to come in. But I would say let's find out off Bev and the team how important this is to the archive really before we move forward with this, because it is a lot of money. But Reg,
I think you've already said it then. Without this license, what difference will it make?
Yeah.
Story Mumbles. Now many people use the Story Mumbles. It's very important for the future, and this is the future. More people will probably look into it. But how necessary is it?
Yeah, because it is a lot of money a year, isn't it? Carrie, do you want to come in?
Yeah, it is a lot of money, and I'm quite surprised really by how much money it is. Is there a kind of a limit on it? You know, like copyright and things, you know, if it's older than X number of years, then it's kind of, you know, a free for all anyway, because a lot of those articles that are published are, I don't know, 70, 80 years old. So I think maybe we should check, you know, is there a cutoff point? You know, you know, it's only articles published within the last X number of years, and if we're not particularly using those, then, you know, perhaps we could do without it. So I think it's worth just checking the small print. It might have been done, but it's not clear from this.
Thanks, Carrie. Phil, do you want to comment?
Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs when we look at our the history of our national newspapers, and we now realise that we have to pay for absolutely everything they ever published. Sadly, I've noticed this from doing my own ancestry research, is that now you have to pay for every piece of information, because this information is now being digitised, archived, and then sold by companies, and those databases are being run obviously by private companies or by companies with the interest and the ownership of the copyrights. In which case, what's happened here is obviously the national newspapers have sold their copyright rights to their archive. So my analysis of this is that it's never going to get any cheaper. It's only ever going to get more expensive, because that is the general way when it comes to this sort of stuff, unless, of course, we nationalize these things. However, in the meantime, I would suggest that, if people are interested in particular newspaper articles, is that basically perhaps the story of Mumbles could signpost people to Oystermouth Library, or the Astorva, or the particular access, so they can access these on a personal basis, which is usually much cheaper. Sadly, it will damage, I think, the nature of the information that we carry on the Story of Mumbles website, but it will also mean that the Story of Mumbles have to get a little bit more creative when reporting back and referencing the information that they store there. It basically just means a little bit more work, and then referencing actually where these stories come from, rather than actually just displaying the stories as they were displayed perhaps 80, 90 years ago, when Mrs. Watsit from up the street got bowled over by a carriage, because the horse had bolted for it, so it just means that we can only reference the story rather than actually display it. It is a bit sad, but I think effectively 8,000 this year, and then another 3,000 plus every year, plus interest, plus inflation on that. It's going to become very expensive very quickly, and we're not running a national archive. It's a local one.
Thank you, Phil. Martin?
Okay, in some ways echoing what just Phil sort of said, we are a council. I'm sure that we could think maybe of some creative ways around this, by maybe linking, Phil has mentioned Astorva, there's things like the Glamorgan Archive. So what I'm sort of saying, people like them, they need these licenses. They've got to have those licenses. But maybe we need to think, do we need to have this license ourselves? Or could we work in partnership and liaison with these other people who've got access to these things? Glamorgan Archive and things. Glamorgan Archive, I'm thinking, because we've got a Glamorgan Archive in Swansea, I'm pretty sure. They have definitely got those links. The Miners Library, for instance, Swansea City Library, University Library. So maybe working a bit creatively and working in partnership with those. So, we're a small organisation, they're a big organisation. They need to have those licenses. So maybe working in partnership with them.
Yeah, I think, like you say, if you put a link on the website to their document, when you reference it and talking about it, then that's
Or sometimes you could do this through things like YouTube as well.
Yeah. Sarah?
I really appreciate what Bev does with the Story of Mumbles, and it's very sad, but we can't justify that kind of money, can we? It would be hard to justify to the person on the street, something they might not even look up. And as you said, you can link it in with other stuff, and they're creative. They'll think of a way around it. Thanks.
Thanks, Sarah. So I think everyone's in sort of similar. Everyone's on the same page, as it were. So if we go back to Bev in the first instance and just ask how important this is, and maybe if we push this to the next meeting, and if she thinks it's really crucial, she can come in and maybe have a chat with us. But if we just bounce this for now, I think so. Carrie, did you want to have a?
Yeah, just suggest in the meantime, that as Phil suggested, we actually speak to West Glamorgan Archives, which are based at Astorva, and other archive repositories, and find out if we can actually use them. Before, because Bev, maybe hasn't realised that there are those options that she could use. And I think before we bring it back to another meeting, we have to have done that work first.
Okay, yeah, I think we'll certainly ask you that if you can, Kerry, on your reply. That's great. Okay, moving on to item number 22, which is, it says Oystermouth Castle, but it should be Oystermouth Castle Path. So in your pack, you should see a tiny little map. So a local activist, let's call them that, spot the theme, got in touch, and in fairness, quite rightfully so, one of the volunteers had a really nasty fall on the steep hill going up to the castle, and it's transpired that that's not the first time people have fallen on the steep hill going up to the castle, and I wasn't aware of it, but apparently there's been several small accidents and 2 or 3 actually, I would say, life-changing sort of injury accidents going up there, apparently reported to me. So I know the council's, Swansea Council is looking into the surface going up to that and how to maybe make it sort of non-slip, but it is very steep. So I met up with council officers, and there is an option. I don't know if you can see in your packs, but there's a map with a little sort of purple line in it.
Struggling finding it.
I can hold it up to the screen, but if I
what's under on
I know where it is.
Yeah, have a look at that, and if one of you could hold it up to the screen so the others can see after you've had a look at it. So
It's a city upstairs.
well, you can have that opportunity to speak in a second. Let me just mention this into it. Well, right. So
it's not actually the path.
Right.
So it's not on the. It's not on the path. This is the point, right? So the city council is looking into the surface,
steep,
but they're not willing to consider another route which that would make it a lot less steep.
Higher.
So you can see a very little purple line. There's a little purple line. So when you're coming up to the castle, can you see that, guys, at all? No? Go a bit closer, Rob. So
basically going to take the gradient out.
Yes, so you go back on yourself.
No, sorry, it's you can't see, it's too thin. You can see the outline of the castle, but you can't see where any purple lines are. It's far too small.
See that with the arrow?
Okay,
Yes.
that bit, right.
So where the stage is to Mumbles Fest, when you go back on yourself away from the castle entrance, so it would take the gradient out, basically take the steepness out of the path. I had a quote from the Cadw. It's outside the Cadw zone as well, which is what the red line is, the Cadw zone, where you'd have to do you need special authority to remove any earth or anything. So it's outside of that zone. We've had a quote. Swansea Council won't fund it. It would make it easier for people to get up to the castle, and it would make it more accessible. We've got builders on site doing our Castle Woods paths at the moment. If we do it now, they could do it for cheaper. I've had a quote for 3,000, but they've come back and actually said they do it for 2,500. Now that would have to come out of reserves, and that would basically make it improve the accessibility to the castle. Carrie, then Rich.
Swansea Council say they won't pay for it. Well, then they won't pay for it, and presumably they will take responsibility for being sued by people who are injured. We shouldn't be taking responsibility for it. It's not our land. And if we put in an alternative path and somebody got injured on that, then we would be liable. So sorry, but it is steep. I agree. But I do feel that this is Swansea Council's responsibility and most definitely not ours.
Okay, I have had clarity that the Swansea Council would pick up the liability and the maintenance of the path, but regardless. Okay, over to Rich.
I could give you a price if you want. Now, realistically, I've walked up it. I can, but reasonably fit for my age. Now, that for £2,500, in the grand scheme of things, I think that isn't a bad price. And I think we should bite the bullet and just say, let's do it. Because if we argue with the council, it'll never happen.
That is the alternative, yeah. Thanks, Rich. Sarah?
Could you not pay for it out of your councillor's allowance? Well, that would probably be the easiest thing, because you'll be working with the council as well. It'll be far less paperwork and it would just look fairer.
Yeah, we've got a lot of things, as you'll see later on in the budget. There's a hell of a lot of things in Mumbles coming out of the budgets, to be quite honest, Sarah. It's incredibly stretched. You know, I know what West Cross is like, but I'm sure you've got the same issues. But you know, what you've got to appreciate with Mumbles Ward is there is a lot of other things also going on, which should drain on resources than in other areas. Okay, over to Rob.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, as Rich says, it's not a massive dent in our finances for something which is going to keep public and visitors safer if they choose to go that way. However, it is not our responsibility. It is Swansea City Council's. So for that reason, and for the amount it's going to cost them to do it, I think they should do it.
Okay, so it seems like we're pretty split here, so I think we'll just take it to a vote and we'll just see how that goes. So the proposal is to take 2,500 out of reserves and pay for a path which takes away the gradient and joins up with the perimeter path, which we showed on the screen earlier. So firstly, all those in favour of the path? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All those against? 1, 2, 3. Any abstentions? 1. And Angela, did you? Saw you come on the screen, but I didn't see a vote. Sorry.
Sorry, I voted for.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that's 6-4. Okay, so that's carried. Okay, thanks, guys. All right, so moving onwards to Mumbles Bowls Green. Now, I've seen this is an email chain from the chair of the croquet. I think, to be quite honest, this is more of an item agenda for the new premises committee. So as long as Kerry agrees, I think this should be passed over to the premises committee. Kerry, did you nod then? Sorry. Okay.
Put my thumbs up, but obviously you didn't say, so yes, fine to go to the new committee.
There we go. Okay, I think that makes more sense. Yeah. Okay, and the next is exclusions of the press and public to talk about sort of any private issues we've got here. So all those in favour? Thank you. That's carried. Doug, the recording, please. We click the 3 buttons on the left. Down 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And then record again. So go stop at the top one. That's it. And stop.